queer Nigerians actually living their lives.
Yes, yes.
And I did not know. Like, it just felt like there's this kind of remove across class.
There is a remove across class.
And it's just, and I'm like, yeah, so that feeling of like, feeling disappointment was there. I'm seeing a number of families where, the parents know and they're like, okay, cool, but there's an understanding, a quiet understanding that you're going to marry a woman.
Yes.
You're going to bring, and this is going to be a hush-hush thing where you do whatever you do with your boy in the privacy of your life. That's recreation. Exactly, recreation. And then you have to, and I'm like, it's like if people want your children to be depressed, okay, no problem, but yeah, we just operate in that sort of sense of like, don't ask, don't tell. And it's everywhere. And what I'd like to tell people, I'm just like, this thing you're saying, you're insulting your brother without even knowing. You're insulting your uncle without knowing. You're insulting even your very best friend without knowing.
Yes. It's a familiar Nigerian experience where you sit in a church, and this is a Judean experience, and the pastor is preaching rabidly against homosexuals and gay people, and his son is in the congregation. And I'm like, maybe God is trying to even punish you. Maybe God is trying to punish you because the hate, the bitterness, the anger, I'm like, you can not want something, you cannot like something, but the hate is the one I don't understand.
I remember, like, before I came out to my mom, part of my anxiety was, my mom, who is this very sensitive woman, like in a very good way, and I'm saying that like in a good way. Sensitivity is a wonderful thing, but like it can also be a very emotional thing as well. And I'm like, my mom is pretty cool, but then I'm sure she's going to like be feeling sad that people will be like judging my child or stuff like that. And I was just thinking, God, is there a way I can just like make her realize that that shouldn't matter?
Ashamed of.
Because again, I had gone through this journey on my own of like coming out of that place of shame, and in coming out to my friends, and even when I was in UNN, and coming out to like my choir mates and all those things, like I had already dealt with the shame.
All of that, In your own case, in your books, in your interviews, in your conversation, you seem to have transformed your rage into empathy. Or the shame that you came out of. How did you do that? Was it therapy? Was it prayer? Oh, God. How do you, because I don't like rage generally. I understand it. But people who have managed to convert it into a gentler, more beautiful emotion, I think that's a thing of beauty to see. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, like you said, therapy. Like after I finished this book, especially after I finished this book, I was like, actually, I think I need to start therapy. Because I remember telling my writer friends, I was like, writing actually does help a lot in terms of like dealing with things, but therapy is better.
Writing helps, but therapy is better. Yeah. That should be a sticker.
Again, I remember like because throughout my secondary school days, I didn't have a phone, right? And so like, even though I was quite stubborn in the sense that like, I was this feminine boy who my classmates were like, something you like gay now, this one, those kind of things. And I was like, now you go tell me what I go do, that kind of thing. But then I was writing my love letters and whatever, but I was still praying to God to change me. And then I had some friends, who could talk things over. But still there was this kind of loneliness because we're all like teenagers who also like didn't know what was happening. We would go to church, they'll tell us one thing, we'll come to school, they'll tell us the same thing they've told us in church, but then we had our feelings, which we could not deny, and that came with enormous guilt. And so there was a loneliness to that. But then I got a phone, and then I began to go on Google, and I began to go on forums, and I began to read stories and like people's accounts of their experiences. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm actually not alone. There are people, and there's even a word. I didn't even know
that there was a word.
Yeah, like the first time I actually heard a word for it was a negative word, and it was my classmate being like, homo, like white boy could do like all this kind of shit. But then I get a phone, and then there's a word, and it's called gay, and like it's like affirming, like, and there are people like this, and you talk about, and that gradually I came out of that feeling of like isolation and loneliness, and like by the time I got to university, it already gave me a mindset of like possibility. I guess.
Possibility.
So I went to them. I was like, these guys are harassing me, and they was like, what's happening? Did you steal from them? Did he steal from you? They were like, no. And I was like, see? And then they were like, oh, he's homo. He's trying to out them. Did my friends? And basically, this man said they would have killed you and they would have been right. This is a man who is like a professor at the university, and And I was like, what? That left a chill.
Yeah.
And I think I used to be the person who, if I saw, back then at least, if I saw a guy who I felt like dressed well, looked cool, like looked good, I would, you know, if I want to actually collect his number, I'll collect his number. I'll just be like, hey, you look good, like, or you smell good, you know, how is your day going? And they'll be like, hey, nice. And they're always very shocked. I don't think like guys are used to getting compliments from other guys.
Right, yeah, of course.
But they're also quite pleased that that someone said you look good today. And then they give me their number and we chat on WhatsApp. And then usually it's like, oh, I'm not gay. And then they want to start preaching. I'm like, hey, bro, don't be acting. I haven't seen gay people in your life before. You're in university. And then the conversation will change. But after that experience, I found that I became more like reserved, withdrawn.
I feel like it's you I can ask enough questions. What is it like to be openly queer in a country like this?